If you're new to gardening, planting and growing things from seed can seem totally terrifying and unnecessary. After all, there's loads of lovely plants already growing for you that you can just take home and plant up. But the thing is, seeds will allow you to grow all sorts of plants that you may want to eat or you might not be able to find growing elsewhere in stock. Plus it's really rewarding, and it will teach you a lot about how plants grow. So where to begin? Well, firstly, you're going to need a lot more time and patience than if you start with young seedlings or fully grown plants. But all that care that you put in will reap great rewards. There are fewer exciting things than seeing the first true leaves pop up from something that you've put in the ground yourself. One of the first things to do, and this is essential with growing edibles, is work out what you'd like to grow. And normally I advise people to think about what they like to eat. There's no point growing masses of chard if you never really eat it or cook with it. But if you love herbs or tomatoes, then growing them on your own urban garden can be really rewarding. It's essential to think about the conditions provided by your space, just like you would with other plants. I've grown on really sunny balconies and also really shady balconies, and the edibles that I've grown on each are totally different. Tomatoes would never thrive on my shady woodland balcony, but they really loved the exposed place. But whereas spinach and other leafy greens wouldn't really like the exposure of the sunny balcony, they love my sheltered balcony. As always, choosing a plant that likes the conditions you can provide will result in even more success and less failure. Each plant comes with its own growing requirements, so keep in mind that these are just general suggestions to get you started and build your confidence. I promise you can do it. Once you've decided on what seeds you want to grow, then you'll need to sow them in a small pot or seed tray. This is what we've got here. Seed trays work by having a section where you put the seeds in, and just like all our best containers, they've got holes in the bottom for drainage. That then goes on another seed tray, which also has drainage. If you sow directly into here, you'll probably find there isn't enough drainage and it's more difficult to pick out the individual seedlings when they germinate. You can use multi-purpose compost to plant up your seeds, but you can also get a finer, more specific seedling compost. So what you want to do is just put your compost or soil into the seed tray. It's quite important to press down the soil quite firm. It'll just give the seeds a little bit extra chance of germinating. Whichever seeds you choose, they'll come with different instructions of how many to put into each little section, how much room they need, and also how deep they want to be planted. So look on the back of the packet, and that will tell you all the instructions you need for your specific seeds. Generally speaking though, you want to put a few in your hand, it makes it easier to work with, and then scatter them onto the surface of the soil. It's a good idea not to fill up the pods entirely with soil, because then you've got room to put a little bit more on top afterwards. Got a few in, I'm happy with that, and I'm just going to put a little bit more of soil on top. It's a really good idea to label your containers. You don't want to forget what you're growing, and speaking from experience, I always forget to label my containers and regret it. You have a kind of mystery plant identification situation in a few months' time. You can just pop it on a peg, a piece of cardboard, plastic, or some name labels that come in a garden centre or online. Anything really, but make sure the name is on and it's unlikely to come off in the rain. Next, it's really important to water your seeds to give them a good chance of getting started. If you use a big watering can like this, you'll probably drench them, so I tend to put my thumb over. You just want to give them a little bit. Depending on what seeds you're growing, they're either going to need a lot of light or they might prefer it in the dark, but either way they'll want something that's quite warm. I've found that chili seeds can germinate really quickly in an airing cupboard, for instance. Or you can makeshift a little greenhouse. Most propagating trays will come with a plastic lid like this, and you can pop that on top. This will create a warm, humid atmosphere for your seeds to germinate in. You don't have to buy one of these. A Ziploc bag does just as well. Just pop it around your seed tray and seal it at the bottom, or you can use an elastic band. It's really important that you don't allow the soil to dry out. Keep it misted or lightly watered most days, and check your seeds every day to see if you can spot those first little leaves breaking through the soil. Once your seedlings start to grow, you can remove them from their mini greenhouse, or the cupboard, and you can now make sure that they get some proper sunlight. What your seedlings will produce first is a little set of leaves, and this is always exciting, but they're not actually the proper ones. It's not a good idea to move them until the first true leaves appear, And you'll be able to tell these are different because they'll look a different shape and more like the leaves of the plants you're expecting to grow. When you see these true leaves, that's when you can move the seedlings into their own pots. And if you've got all of the kit, you might have a dibber to do this with, but you know what, a pencil works just fine, or you can use something like the edge of this skewer. Hold the plant gently by a leaf and use the pencil to dig into the soil and loosen the roots. It's okay if a leaf gets damaged, but bruising the stem could kill the plant. And once you've freed the roots, you can replant them in a separate pot. Water the seedling well and start using a liquid dose of fertiliser every couple of weeks to make sure it's getting all the nutrients it needs to grow. For an all-in-one package, take a look at Patch's Miracle Grow Pods. These are a great way to get started with seed planting as they contain everything needed to give your seeds the best start, including the seeds themselves. All you need to do is push them into the soil so it's level with the surface, water well, and then continue to keep it moist. And congratulations, you've just completed our Urban Garden course. This is just an overview. For more information on your specific plants, make sure to check out the product pages on the Patch website. If you're feeling uncertain or something goes a bit wrong, you can always contact the Patch Plant Rescue Service. Just send a photo of your sickly plant via their website and their experts will help to diagnose what's wrong and try and suggest a cure. In the meantime, we hope that your confidence has been built so you can really get started with growing outdoors. It's a brilliant adventure.